Alright guys, welcome back. Mac 1340 PLCs. Alright, today we're going to be talking about adding an on-delay, a non-retentive on-delay timer. So non-retentive meaning that it's not going to retain time if I reset it or stop it in any way, shape, or form. It's going to automatically reset when we go through it. So let's go through. I've already added my PLC here, so we're doing this all with Siemens S7 1500 PLCs. Alright, I've chosen the right PLC and CPU and everything that you can kind of see over on my left hand side. So the next thing we need to do is set up some tag tables. So all I'm going to do is basic timer here, and we got to set up a tag table. So add a new tag table and then open the tag table. Alright, so we're going to create a couple tags. So you can kind of make these with me if you want. We obviously want a start button, right? To get everything going. Alright, we want it to be Boolean. I've already set my initial addresses. So my input addresses are going from 00 through 07. Okay, and my outputs are going to be 4.0 through 4.7. So I've already designated those and overwritten the analog ones so that everything works out right. But I can't spell stop completely because the P is my pause button on my recording. So I'll call it like just ESTO. Just know that that's my E stop. Alright, I'm going to hit enter Boolean. It's going to be my next address. That's good. Alright, I want an output light. So I'm just going to call it like lamp 1. Once again, getting stuck with the P there because that's pausing my program. So I'm going to call it light 1 instead of lamp 1. Alright, notice how it's defaulting to an input. I need that to be an output, so I'm going to go over here and I'm going to select output here. So remember my choices here are I, Q, and M, with Q being the output, M being the memory coil. We're going to use the M here in a second. And I want this to start at 4 and bit number 0 when I do this. Okay, so that's going to be my output light. That's going to turn on from my timer. So remember, this is just a basic timer right now. I'm going to be able to use the start and stop button and be able to set the timer. We also need to do a couple different things here. I want to keep track of the elapsed time. So once again, I can't use my P, so let's just call this E time for elapsed time. Okay, now elapsed time can't be Boolean. Okay, we actually want it to keep track of time. So in data type, you're going to have to select and you're going to roll down to time here. Okay, and you're going to select time. All right, and then we want to do memory coil. So we're going to call it a mem. Okay, and operator. You don't really have a choice on changing their operand type, so keep it at D. Alright, and then I'm just going to call it 5 because I'm going to make the timer roll for 5 seconds, so my elapsed time, I'm going to make the address 5. Okay, so now that's my elapsed time. Alright, and the time I'm going to keep track of, and as well as the addressing for that. Remember, a memory coil is using internal memory only. Okay, so now I'm ready. I'm going to go over here on the left hand side and I'm going to go to my main OB1 block. Alright, and I'm going to just start dropping in. I'm going to put a normally closed contactor to represent my stop. I'm going to represent my start here. Okay, and then I want the light to turn on. I did not want it to turn on there. So I want it to go here. Alright, see how when I hold this, if I go past this, sometimes it puts it down here. So I want to make sure that I'm before this where that green little box lights up. Okay, and that way I know exactly where I am. So let's tag everything. So this was my output light. Okay, and then I have, this is my stop button. Okay, so I'm going to go down here, my E stop. Okay, and this was my start button, which I'm using as a normally open contactor. Okay, so now we need to throw our timer in here. So over on the right hand side of the screen over here, I'm going to toggle this just for a second. You can see under basic instructions, okay, there's timer instructions that are over here. So I'm going to click this arrow next to timer instructions. Okay, and I want to drop in an on delay. So I can hover the cursor over here and it'll tell me what kind of timer it's going to be. So this is an on delay timer here. Okay, so I can grab it and drag it and pop it right there. Okay, and then I'm just going to call it on timer 1. Okay, you can call it whatever you want, but try to go in some sort of chronological order when you do this. That did not put it in the right spot for me. Okay, so I should be able to just drag it and drop it right back up there. Okay, so sometimes I don't know if you don't put it in the right spot. Make sure you delete that little or that I had down there, or it won't compile correctly for you. Okay, so now we want to put in the elapsed time. Alright, so in this case, I'm just going to click the cursor here, and I'm going to type in T, and then £, and then let's do 5, and then seconds. Okay, in lecture I kind of went over how we can do all the different time increments. You can't just do, sometimes it tells you can just do 5 seconds, but I've never gotten it to really work. It needs that T and that £, in front, or nowadays it's a hashtag, but it's really a £. Alright, because we're talking about numbers. And then elapsed time is what we want to click on here. Okay, so that's what we set, so it knows in memory, and that elapsed time is going to automatically count. So you're actually going to see it go through the elapsed time when I do all this. So everything looks good for me. I like sometimes, just so you don't get the warnings, you can delete the second network out. You can just right click and go down and delete it. Alright, and everything is hunky-dory there. Sometimes you'll get a warning saying that, you have a network that doesn't have anything on it, essentially, and that can cause some issues. So let's go ahead and download this onto our PLC. So my PLC is hooked up. You obviously can't see it right now, but you will see when I monitor it and I hit switches and do that sort of thing. So I'm going to go ahead and compile first. So I've highlighted the PLC over here. I've hit compile. Down at the bottom, it's finished compiling, 0 errors, 0 warnings, so I'm good. I'm going to go ahead and download this to my PLC. I've already connected to my PLC before, so I don't have to choose the interface that I'm using Ethernet and things like that. It's just going to automatically let me load down here to the PLC. Once you've done that initial load, alright, and then we can finish, and then we go up here and put the glasses on. Alright, and remember that this is a non-retentive timer. It's not going to retain anything. So notice, since I've got my e-stop already kind of set, it's normally wired closed. So when I hit the start button, you should see time start to accumulate in here. So right now I'm just using, we have Amatrol and Festo trainers. I'm just using a little Festo IN sim. We do it on the same with the Amatrol 87 iOS simulators as well. So I've kind of programmed it. So you can see where I have my e-stop. I'm hitting that switch right now. So I made my e-stop not live right now. So it is live now, okay? And we can see, remember, what's green is live. So I'm going to hit the start button on this, and you're going to see that it's going to activate the timer, and you can see the timer accumulating time right there. And then after 5 seconds, my light turns on, okay? Now, if I hit the stop button, it kills everything. And I don't have the start button reset, so it's automatically going to do that and turn off after 5 seconds. So I need to make sure that my start button is off, okay, so you can see that, and my e-stop is still set. So watch what happens now. So I'm going to play around with the start button while it's accumulating time, so you can see that it resets. So it's accumulating, I hit the start button, it resets back to 0. Alright, so this is a non-retentive timer because it's not going to keep track of, when I reset it, it's not keeping track of the time. It's automatically always going to reset to 0. So this is on delay. So 5 seconds later, you can watch time accumulate, and then after 5 seconds, the light turns on. We can also do an on delay timer as an output coil over here as well. I have some other lectures that kind of show how to do that on our old PLCs that we did, the 314s. But we're going to be using the block timers for right now. So you're going to learn actually how to cascade the lights and make a stoplight and do that sort of thing. But, for this scenario, this is a non-retentive on-delay timer. So we can see what's going on. If you guys have any questions, make sure that you ask me in class. Else, guys, have a great day, and I will see you in class.